Every single day, someone is watching how you respond. Not because they're trying to manipulate you, not because they're your enemy, but because human beings are constantly gathering information about one another. Before people trust you, they observe you. Before they respect you, they evaluate you. Before they follow your lead, they quietly ask themselves one question: who is this man, really? The surprising part is that they rarely ask it with words. Instead, they ask it with behavior. A late reply, a sarcastic joke, a small favor, a disagreement, an interruption, a broken promise, a subtle challenge. Most people think these moments are random. The silent strategist knows they are opportunities. Not opportunities to dominate. Not opportunities to prove superiority, but opportunities to reveal character. Imagine walking across an old wooden bridge suspended over a deep canyon. Before allowing hundreds of people to cross, the engineers don't decorate the bridge. They test it. They place weight on it. They create pressure. They expose it to wind, rain, heat. Only then do they trust it. Human relationships work in much the same way. Pressure reveals what comfort hides. That is why people unconsciously create small moments of tension. Not always to hurt you, but to understand you. How do you react when someone disagrees with you? What happens when your patience is challenged? Do you become defensive? Do you lose emotional control? Do you desperately seek approval? Or do you remain steady? These tiny moments often communicate more than hours of conversation ever could. Years ago, a sword master accepted only one apprentice every 10 years. Young warriors traveled from distant kingdoms hoping to earn a place. On the first day, the master never asked about their strength. He never asked about their victories. Instead, he intentionally insulted them. Some became angry. Some tried to impress him. Some walked away. Only one remained calm. Later, another student asked why. The master answered, "A sharp sword is useless in the hands of a man who cannot control himself." That lesson has survived for centuries because it reflects a timeless truth. Self-control is visible. People notice it immediately. The silent strategist understands that emotional reactions are like open windows. The moment you react impulsively, people see inside. They discover your fears, your insecurities, your emotional triggers, your need for validation. That is why emotionally disciplined men never rush to defend themselves. Not because they are weak, because they understand that calmness creates uncertainty. Imagine throwing a stone into a perfectly still lake. The ripples reveal exactly where the stone landed. Now imagine throwing the same stone into a violent storm. The disturbance disappears almost instantly. Most people become the storm. They react so quickly, so emotionally, but they never stop to ask a simple question. What is actually happening here? The silent strategist always asks that question first, because not every challenge deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves attention. Not every disagreement is a battle. Sometimes, the greatest display of strength is refusing to turn a small spark into a fire. Inside the Dark Mind Protocol, we teach that your first responsibility is not controlling other people. It is controlling yourself. Because once you master your own emotions, very little in the outside world can manipulate you. If you're ready to build that level of emotional discipline, the complete framework is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. As you begin to understand these silent tests, you'll notice something fascinating. The people who seem the strongest are rarely the ones who speak first. They're the ones who understand what every situation is truly revealing. The problem is not that people test you. The problem is that most men don't recognize the test until they've already failed it. Not because they lack intelligence, because they confuse every challenge with a threat. Imagine a fisherman standing beside a quiet lake. He doesn't throw his line into the water because he already knows what's beneath the surface. He throws it because he doesn't. The pull on the line reveals what his eyes cannot see. Human behavior works in much the same way. Small moments of tension reveal things that ordinary conversations never will. A coworker interrupts you 3 times during a meeting. A stranger speaks to you with unnecessary disrespect. A friend makes a joke at your expense in front of other people. Someone suddenly changes plans at the last minute. A partner ignores a boundary You clearly communicated. None of these situations automatically means someone is trying to manipulate you. Sometimes people are simply distracted. Sometimes they're stressed. Sometimes they're immature. But regardless of the reason, every one of these moments presents the same opportunity. How will you respond? The silent strategist understands that every reaction teaches people how to treat you. Not because they consciously decide to, because the human brain constantly updates expectations. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries without consequence, their brain quietly learns this behavior is acceptable. If every sarcastic comment receives nervous laughter, the comments continue. If every unreasonable demand receives immediate compliance, the demands grow larger. Not because people are always malicious, because patterns become habits. Years ago, a martial arts instructor demonstrated this lesson without saying a word. He asked one student to push him. The instructor stepped backward every single time. Again. Then he asked another student to push him. This time, he didn't push back. He simply planted his feet and remained completely still. The student stopped pushing almost immediately. Confused, the class asked why. The instructor smiled. Resistance invites a contest. Stability ends one. Those words contain enormous psychological wisdom. Many people think strength means fighting every battle. The silent strategist knows real strength often means refusing to play the game at all. Think about fire. If you throw dry wood onto every small flame, the fire grows. If you remove the fuel, it dies. Attention works exactly the same way. Many social tests survive only because we feed them emotionally. We argue, we defend, we overexplain, we become offended. We try desperately to prove ourselves. Meanwhile, the emotionally disciplined man does something entirely different. He pauses. He observes. He asks himself, does this situation actually deserve my energy? That single pause separates reactive people from powerful people. Imagine an experienced chess grandmaster. When his opponent makes an unexpected move, he doesn't panic. He doesn't slam the pieces. He doesn't rush to respond. He studies the board because he knows the first emotional reaction is rarely the best strategic decision. Life rewards the same mindset. Most people lose because they react to the first emotion. The silent strategist waits for the emotion to settle before choosing his response. That delay is not weakness. It is discipline. One of the greatest misunderstandings about confidence is believing that confident men always have something to prove. In reality, the strongest men often prove the least. They don't rush to defend every accusation. They don't argue with every opinion. They don't need to win every conversation. Why? Because they understand a simple truth. If your identity depends on winning every small battle, you will eventually lose the war against yourself. Inside the Dark Mind Protocol, we teach that emotional control is not about suppressing feelings. It is about refusing to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Every pause strengthens awareness. Every calm response strengthens authority. Every unnecessary argument you avoid protects your peace. If you're ready to stop reacting impulsively and start responding with intention, the complete system is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Because the people who quietly test you are rarely measuring your strength. More often, they are measuring your stability. And stability is far more difficult to fake than confidence. One of the biggest mistakes a man can make is believing he must respond to every challenge immediately. That instinct feels natural. Someone questions your opinion. You defend it. Someone doubts your ability. You try to prove yourself. Someone disrespects you. You feel the urge to react. But the silent strategist understands something that changes the game completely. Not every test is asking for an answer. Some are simply observing whether you feel obligated to give one. Imagine a lion resting beneath the shade of a tree. Small birds fly around him. Monkeys scream from the branches above. The wind carries dust across his face. Yet the lion remains still. Not because he is unaware, because he knows the difference between a disturbance and a threat. If he chased every bird, every insect, every sound, He would waste all of his strength before the real hunt even began. Many men live exactly that way. Every comment becomes a battle. Every disagreement becomes personal. Every criticism becomes an emergency. By the end of the day, they're mentally exhausted, not because life attacked them, because they gave their energy away to things that never deserved it. The silent strategist protects his attention with extraordinary discipline. He asks himself a simple question before responding. Will this matter 1 week from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Years ago, a respected judge became famous for one unusual habit. Whenever lawyers insulted him during emotional trials, he never responded immediately. Instead, he would quietly write something on a small piece of paper, fold it, place it inside his pocket. A young clerk finally asked what he was writing. The judge smiled. The response I almost gave. The clerk looked confused. Then why don't you say it? The judge answered, because tomorrow I will be grateful that I didn't. That is emotional maturity. Not pretending anger doesn't exist. Choosing not to become its servant. Imagine driving a luxury sports car down a busy highway. Children wave from the sidewalks. Drivers honk. Motorcycles speed past. Someone cuts you off. Someone else shouts through their window. If you reacted emotionally to every single event, you would never reach your destination safely. Successful drivers don't focus on every distraction. They focus on the road ahead. The same principle applies to life. Purpose filters noise. Men without purpose become distracted by everything. Men with purpose become distracted by almost nothing. That is why powerful people often appear calm. It isn't because life is easier for them. It's because their attention has become selective. They understand that attention is a limited resource. Every unnecessary argument costs something. Every emotional outburst costs something. Every attempt to prove your worth costs something. The question is rarely, can I respond? The better question is this worthy of my response? The silent strategist knows that silence is not surrender. Sometimes, silence is evaluation. Sometimes, silence is confidence. Sometimes, silence is strategy. And sometimes, silence is the loudest answer in the room. One of the greatest social tests happens when people realize they cannot easily provoke you. At first, some push harder, not because they hate you, because they are curious. They expect the same emotional reaction they've seen from countless others. When it never comes, something interesting happens. The dynamic changes. Without saying a single word, you communicate that your emotions are not available for public control. That realization earns a kind of respect that arguments never can. Inside the Dark Mind Protocol, we teach that emotional discipline is the highest form of personal power, not because it intimidates others, but because it frees you from becoming predictable. A man who reacts to everything can be manipulated. A man who chooses his responses cannot. If you're ready to develop that level of self-mastery, the complete framework is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Because in the end, people are not impressed by the man who wins every argument. They remember the man who never lost control of himself. By now, you may have realized something important. Life is not a series of battles. It is a series of observations. Every conversation, every disagreement, every unexpected challenge, every moment of pressure reveals something, not just about other people, about you. Most men spend their lives trying to control the behavior of everyone around them. The silent strategist chooses a different path. He controls the only thing that has ever truly belonged to him. His response. That single decision changes everything. Imagine two ships sailing through the same violent storm. One captain screams at the wind, curses the waves, blames the ocean. The other quietly adjusts the sails. Neither controls the storm. Only one reaches the shore. Life rewards the second man, because emotional maturity is not measured by the absence of difficulty. It is measured by the quality of your response. There will always be people who misunderstand you, people who challenge you, people who criticize you, people who test your patience. That will never disappear. The question is no longer, how do I stop people from testing me? The better question is, what do my reactions teach them about me? That question changes your perspective completely. Years ago, A master archer trained two young students. He placed a wooden target in front of them. The first student looked only at the target. The second constantly looked toward the crowd standing behind him. He wanted to know whether they were impressed. When both released their arrows, the first struck the center. The second missed completely. The master quietly said, "The arrow always follows the eyes." The lesson was not about archery. It was about attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention constantly follows criticism, your peace disappears. If your attention follows every insult, your emotions become public property. If your attention follows your mission, distractions begin losing their power. That is why purpose is one of the strongest forms of protection. A man with a meaningful destination rarely wastes time arguing with people walking in the opposite direction. The silent strategist understands that. Respect cannot be demanded. It cannot be forced. It cannot be manipulated into existence. Real respect appears naturally when people recognize something rare. Consistency, calmness, discipline, integrity. These qualities cannot be fake for long. Eventually, pressure exposes everyone. And that is exactly why emotionally disciplined men become so difficult to manipulate. Not because they never feel anger, not because they never feel fear, but because they refuse to let temporary emotions become permanent decisions. Inside the Dark Mind Protocol, we believe that every challenge life sends you carries a hidden question. Who are you when no one tells you how to respond? That is the question that shapes identity. If you're ready to become the kind of man whose presence communicates strength before he even speaks, you'll find the complete Dark Mind Protocol waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Because the world will never stop testing you. Not your coworkers, not your friends, not your relationships, not your future. Pressure is part of life. But pressure does something extraordinary. It reveals what was already there. Weak foundations crack. Strong foundations remain standing. So don't fear being tested. Welcome it. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove something, not to other people, to yourself. Remember this. Powerful men are not respected because they always have the perfect answer. They are respected because they remain steady when everyone else becomes emotional. Because while others are trying to win arguments, they are building character. While others chase approval, they strengthen discipline. While others react, they observe. And that quiet ability to remain grounded is what makes them impossible to manipulate. That is the path of a silent strategist. Not louder, not more aggressive, simply more disciplined. Because in the end, the greatest victory is never over another person. It is over the version of yourself that used to react before thinking. Master that, and very little in this world will ever control you again.